Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's going to be AEW Collision and WWE SmackDown. We'll get to WrestleMania tomorrow, don't you worry. But I'm going to start with these today. And the reason I'm going to be starting with Collision is that this week Collision was on Thursday before SmackDown. So I got to cover it, which is very, very good. So we start off Collision with highlights from AEW Dynamite, especially that main event trios match. And then as the highlights are going on, we hear a commotion. We see Maria Shafir pretty much bodying crew member. I don't know if it was a cameraman or someone from production from the back. And then she goes right up to the announce table and just starts mean-mugging them. That's when we see Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Jon Moxley drop the barricade. They're pissed. They're kind of kicking things around. They took the person who's in charge of the ring bell and tosses them in ringside. Then Moxley gets in the ring. He has a microphone. He says, "I'm happy to see everybody celebrating last night. Enjoy it now, because it will be the last chance you'll ever get. And the Bucks, after last night, I don't like you. And I'm going to make sure if you do pull that shit again, you'll never be heard from again." And there was one baddest man in wrestling, and that's Samoa Joe. I've always shown Joe respect. I've given him his space. But you started something I have to finish. I will not run and hide. I'll fight you to the death for the AEW World title. So, Joe, I am challenging you. And all I need to say is I know exactly what you're dealing with. Samoa Joe versus Jon Moxley. Yes, please. That match would rule. And I'm going to say this. It's been a weird one. But I'm coming around on the Death Riders story. Because they feel more motivated after this big loss. It's definitely going to be an interesting time. So we get our first matchup of the evening. And it's Kevin Knight taking on Lance Archer. And while it was awkward in some places, they pulled off a really, really entertaining matchup of the big powerhouse versus the small, speedy guy. And Kevin Knight picks up the win with a flying clothesline off the top, which is a crazy move to pick up the win. Then we see a promo from the Ops. So that's Joe, Shibata, and apparently now Powerhouse Hobbs, which is, honestly, I think that's a great fit. So Joe takes the lead, says, any usual predator they hunt, but for the Death Riders this past week, that wasn't the case. We are men like Shibata, myself, and now Powerhouse Hobbs. We are the Trios champions, and we are coming for so much more. So, I don't know if that's confirmation that Joe accepts Moxley's challenge, but we're going to wait and see, because I'd really like to see that. Next up, we got a Jamie Hayter / Chris Statlander interview, with Hayter starting out. I'm sick and tired of talking about Mercedes Martinez and Toni Storm. There are many other women busting their ass, working as hard as those two to bring the women's division up. And Chris, we all know you're good. We know I'm good. This is a long time coming. And whoever wins better go all the way. And then they kind of shake hands. So a little mutual respect for future Owen Hart Cup match. And yeah, that should be a fun one. So next up, we got Tony Schiavone reading an apology letter from FTR. They got suspended this week. They'll be back next week, probably, apologizing for potentially attacking Tony Schiavone and then Daniel Garcia. So, we'll see what becomes of that. Hopefully, I'm not saying this is what I want. Let's get Nigel McGuinness back in the ring one more time. Then we see highlights from Dynamite of Josh Alexander's big debut and possibly joining the Don Callis family. It does seem like that's all but confirmed. As we go into this crazy little matchup, we got the Don Callis family being represented by Josh Alexander and Konosuke Takeshita taking on Tomohiro Ishii. I am surprised he's back. And Rocky Asuka Romero. And this was a fun combination. Like, Takeshita and Ishii obviously have a whole lot of chemistry together. And they're a couple of big hosses going at it. I always love stuff like that. Then Rocky and Josh Alexander had some really good chemistry too. With Josh trying to lock in the ankle lock, but Romero bridging out of it. One point, Rocky goes for the big shoulder tackle. But he is countered right into an ankle lock again. And then there was a little bit of miscommunication between Ishii and Rocky. Ishii fights out of the Don Callis family corner, goes for the tag. Rocky drops down to the floor. Oh my goodness. Oh, then Takeshita with a big boot, Josh with a suplex, couple elbows into a power bomb for the win for the Don Callis family. Post-match, we kind of see the Callis family walking up the ramp a little. Romero gets in the ring, starts to check on Ishii. Ishii then pushes him out of the way. And as he turns around, there's a hooded superstar right behind him. Distracts Ishii, and Romero attacks him from behind. The hooded figure, Trent Beretta. Ooh, Trent Beretta's back. I'm happy with that. Don Callis family gets back into the ring. And then Don gives Trent a one of those big old wrenches. Beretta then hits Ishii with the wrench as we close that. So it looks like we're getting Roppongi Vice teaming up in the Don Callis family. I'm going to admit, I did not see that one coming. I am kind of excited by that notion. And then we get this interesting little interview with Mercedes Moné. She starts off, I've beaten them all my opponents so far. I'm ready to win the Owen. And as she's starting to say that, in comes Puppet Moné, which means it's Harley Cameron, which I'm happy with that. And Puppet Moné says, you don't want to talk to Harley, but things will be different. Moné then says, yeah, I hope... Wait, why am I talking to a puppet? Harley, I know you're right there. Don't be such a loser. And Monet walks off, and Harley's like, Monet, puppet. Harley Cameron is such a gift. She's great. Next up, we got a 2-on-1 handicap match as Megan Bayne takes on a couple of enhancement talent. And you know where this goes. Big old... actually, the enhancement talent try to get some offense in. Megan Bayne powers out. Big old suplex. Couple of power bombs to each of them. A decapitator, which I think should be her new finish. And then face to set, stacking both opponents to win. I was kind of hoping for something a little more from Megan Bayne, especially post her failed attempt at the AEW Women's title. I'd like to see her interact with some other members of the roster. Then we get an awesome Anthony Bowens video package where he sets his sights on gold. And this next matchup, and it's for the TNT title, and it's an open challenge. That's right. I miss having open challenges for titles. As we got Adam Cole, baby, and his opponent, Claudio Castagnoli. Honestly, this is a match I never thought I'd get to see, but now here we are, and they worked really, really well together. This was a great first match. They used every surface of not just in the ring, but outside the ring. Adam Cole was about to attempt a boom, which is a big knee strike. Claudio grabs the back of his pants, hits a bunch of uppercuts, and strikes. Ref backs Claudio off, which is very interesting. Claudio with a superplex, but as it lands, Adam Cole rolls up Claudio to pick up the win. And honestly, I would have liked to see a more definitive win for Adam Cole, but with the way the Death Rider story is going, having him squeak out a win, I'm not mad at. Then we see the rest of the Paragon, which is Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. They come out to celebrate with John Moxley, Adam Cole. Then we see Claudio Castagnoli destroying the announce table, like completely. He flips up the cover, he breaks apart the edge pieces, and he flips the actual table. Rest of the Death Riders come out, they calm him down, and they all leave the arena together. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be a bit interesting. I'm glad we're finally seeing some weakness in the Death Riders. So, yeah, hopefully we get something interesting from them coming up. We then get the recap of last week's Chris Jericho segment, where he pretty much just bails on the learning tree. We then go to a backstage interview with Big Bill and Brian Keith, with Bill saying, I can tell he was disappointed in us, but he's our leader, and he's the one that walked out. I'm getting angry. Brian Keith then turns to him and he's saying, let's not do this now. We can talk to him in private at another time. He said we are his family, and if we are family, we should handle it like family. Big Bill then says, no, this is still Keith. If you didn't put him on blast, I'm not sure we should be living. And no, this is Big Bill now. I'm not sure we should be living and dying by the whim of Chris Jericho. We need to get this right. So it looks like we're seeing a breakup of Big Bill and Brian Keith, which honestly might be okay. Then we see the return of honestly one of my favorite wrestlers going right now, Rush, as he teams up with Dralistico and the Beast Mortis. That's right, we got full-blown LFI, baby. They're back. Taking on some enhancement talent. LFI jumped the enhancement team before the bell. And this was pretty much all LFI. With Dralistico hitting a code breaker. KM tags in. I'm shocked to see him back here. Dralistico hitting some kicks. Tags in Rush. Hitting a couple elbows. Big dive from Dralistico. And then the Bullhorns to pick up the win for LFI. Definitely a very, very interesting thing going on with LFI. Hopefully we get to see them maybe go after the trios belts. Who knows? Anyway, now we get a Kevin Knight / Speedball Mike Bailey interview. They're in like the belly of the beast of the arena somewhere. Interviewer steps up to him. Kevin Knight says, "No, that's understandable. The Callis family isn't for us." And then Ricochet walks in. And he says, "Look, these two obviously screwed me out of a bunch of money. Let me give you some advice. You don't want to upset the top talent. And take my advice before anything bad happens." Kevin Knight then kind of gets in Ricochet's face. Mike Bailey pulls him back. Bailey then says to Ricochet, "I respect the hell out of you, but anything you can do, I can do better." So, Kevin Knight versus Ricochet, one-on-one match? Yes, please. Then we go to our first of, I believe, our only title match of the evening, and it's for the Ring of Honor television title, as Nick Wayne challenges Commander. And, oh boy, these two styles clashed really, really well. This was super good. The high-flying lucha libre of Commander and the speedy yet methodical stylings of Nick Wayne. This combination. Like Commander with a destroyer, hitting a moonsault on him. Attempts the rope walk shooting star. That gets blocked with Nick Wayne's knees. After a couple of kicks and a Trinity Plex, which is very interesting name for a finisher. Your winner and new Ring of Honor TV champion, Nick Wayne, bringing it back, bringing the title to his group. So, that's, I was very surprised by that title change. Maybe we'll get a rematch somewhere down the line, because that match was beautiful. We then get a hologram video package saying he's coming back next week. And then we get Timeless Tony Storm on commentary, which is a treat, as always, as we settle in for our main event of Collision, as it's Mercedes Moné teaming with Harley Cameron to take on Julia Hart and Chris Statlander. And this match definitely was fun. As soon as Harley gets tagged in, she goes to the outside, grabs Puppet Monet, and they just start tossing her around. Harley eventually attempts a roll-up, only to get it 2. And this match was really, really good. Very entertaining spots, too. Julia attempting a big senton, but that gets blocked. Julia with a big old suplex and then a neck breaker. Statlander gets in, hits a blue thunder bomb, but then eats a meteor from Monet. Julia attempts her moonsault, but that gets blocked. Statlander tags right in, hitting an odd suplex. I guess it was like a rolling suplex. Tags in Harley, who hits a bunch of clotheslines. But then Julia Hart locks in the tarantula. Statlander attempts a roll-up, but only gets a 2 count. Harley with the backbreaker. And then Chris Statlander with the clothesline. For your winners, Chris Statlander and Julia Hart. So definitely a bit confusing of a match, but it was still really, really fun. Post-match, Timeless Toni Storm gets off of commentary, gets in the ring, has a little stare down with Statlander. Yes, give me that match. I want that match. So that was AEW Collision. Very entertaining at times, but yeah, I enjoyed myself. There was definitely some spots that were missed, but it is what it is. And now we move on to WWE SmackDown. And oh boy, we need to stop this being 3 hours. Like, USA, this doesn't need to be 3 hours. Enough of this already. So we start with everyone coming into the arena. Then we see Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. They're about to enter the arena. We see Tama Tonga stop, check his pockets, go back to the SUV, grab either it was his phone or his wallet. Then as soon as he starts walking away, LA Knight jumps him in the parking lot and uses the door to hurt him. So, another Bloodline member bites the dust. Then we get an in-the-ring Seth Rollins promo. Goes right to the middle of the ring. Sits cross-legged, just like CM Punk did when he delivered his pipe bomb promo. If you guys remember that. And no, I am not going over that. That's ancient history at this point. Anyway, so Seth starts saying, "Oh, we'll get to the OTC later. I'm going to start by talking about Punk. The reason he came back, he says he came back, is that all you chanted his name for 10 years. And when he came back, it wasn't in a WWE ring. He came back because someone wrote him a big check. And when he burnt all his bridges over there, he came back not because of you, because they wrote him a big fat check. Punk likes to pretend he came back from you, but he doesn't care about you or the WWE, as what you will about Reigns. The OTC doesn't pretend to care. He can believe that the OTC only cares about the OTC, and he loves it when you love him. And Roman and Punk know nothing about sacrifice like I do. This story between us started 12 years ago with Paul Heyman, when Heyman brought me, Roman, and Ambrose to the WWE to be Punk's shield. And everyone wanted the spotlight on Roman. And every year this went on, and after Punk left, I heard the chants. Meanwhile, I was making every show all come to a head last year at WrestleMania. I made sure I was there at the very end to make sure Roman lost. The story between us started 12 years ago, and it's going to end tomorrow night at WrestleMania. I will do exactly what I promised. I will sacrifice everything I have to make sure this interesting industry moves forward. That's not just a prediction, that's a spoiler. God dang, that was a good promo. Oh man, honestly, he's right. Roman Reigns has a silver spoon in his mouth, and I don't know, it doesn't feel like Punk cares anymore. So that's why I'm Team Seth all the way, baby. We then get a rundown of the WrestleMania card, which I don't know, looked fine. We'll get to WrestleMania tomorrow. We then get an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal hype video, which was definitely very interesting. And then we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I'm going to keep saying this. WWE, you got a 3-hour pre-show for WrestleMania. Put the Andre the Giant Battle Royal in there. It doesn't need to be on the SmackDown before. Certain participants, we have R-Truth, Carlito, Berto and Angel of Legado del Fantasma. Actually, Santos Escobar's in there as well. Both members of Pretty Deadly. Akira Tozawa, both Creed brothers, and Chad Gable. Otis, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory. Pretty much all of the LWO besides Rey Mysterio. We'll see him a little later. Shinsuke Nakamura, Ludwig Kaiser, The Miz, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Rey Fenix, Andrade, and Carmelo Hayes. Now, I'm not going to be going through all the spots because then we'd be here all day. But right at the start, you see Carlito starting to take a bite of his apple. R-Truth takes it and just has it as a snack, which is funny. That's when Carlito eliminates R-Truth. Berto and Angel are both eliminated by Otis, who then, I think it was the LWO who eliminated both members of Pretty Deadly. Next out is Tyler Bate, Tozawa. Otis then eliminates himself and the Creeds. Waller and Theory are eliminated back to back. Rey Fenix eliminating Chad Gable. We'll get to that in a minute. Joaquin Wilde gets eliminated. Cruz del Toro is next. Karrion Kross is eliminated. I forgot he was in there. Nakamura with a big Kinshasa to Dragon Lee. He gets eliminated. Pete Dunne then has Carmelo Hayes on the apron. Does the finger snap. Miz with a big boot. Saves Carmelo Hayes, but then Dragon Lee drags him over the top, eliminates him. Hayes then eliminates Pete Dunne. Nakamura attempts another Kinshasa. That misses. Which leads to Nakamura being eliminated. Rey Fenix is fighting for his life. He's on the ropes. Out comes El Grande Americano, who eliminates Rey Fenix. Andrade attempts the message. That gets blocked. Hayes with a cutter. Andrade attempts his leg sweep off the ropes, but that gets blocked. Hayes eliminates Andrade to win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So, yeah, that was definitely a fun little Battle Royal. And it was under 0 commercial break, which is very, very weird. I kind of hate that. Anyway, then we get to the next Triple H Hall of Fame hype video. This time his match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28, I want to say it was. And we get a video recap of Charlotte Flair attacking Tiffany Stratton last week. And then we get a sit-down interview with Charlotte Flair. It's not in the arena or anything. It looks like it's at some kind of lounge somewhere in Vegas. I'm not sure. So Flair says, "No, it's not the first time people have been disappointed in me. I don't have any love for Stratton, but we've moved past this situation. I have a chip on my shoulder, and people are now really invested in this match. People tune in to see me and Stratton at WrestleMania. Can I be insensitive? Sure, but that's how you make it." So, yeah, nice little hyping up of the match by Charlotte Flair. We then see Rhea Ripley. She's in the back, makes it out to the ring, and starts her promo saying, "Sunday marks my 6th WrestleMania, and this one is the most important to me because I let myself get distracted by Bianca. I could be coming out here making all the excuses, but there's no point. Sunday, I get back what's mine. I'm walking out a 3-time Women's World Champion." This brings out our current Women's World Champion, Io Sky. She attempts to bring the microphone up to say something, but out comes Bianca Belair, saying, "Y'all two thought I wasn't going to show up if you said my name?" Get a quick peek because tonight could be my last night on SmackDown. I'm not planning on letting it go. I'm not planning on letting this go anytime soon. So then out comes someone very interesting. It's Naomi. Naomi says to Bianca, "Finally decided to show up and not talk to me? I know you got my messages. I saw you read them. Our friendship means little to you?" Bianca then says to her, "We're not doing this right now." I said what I said, and I meant it. Naomi then says, "You care that much about Jade, huh? She wasn't there for you like I was, and tomorrow I'm going to finish what I started." This brings out Jade Cargill. She makes a beeline right for Naomi, but Naomi gets out of the ring, and then Jade and Bianca start arguing with one another. Naomi then gets back in the ring, pushes Jade into Bianca, and that just starts the entire brawl, with Io just kind of standing there. Officials come out, they break them up. Everyone's on the outside of the ring. That's when Io hits a beautiful moonsault to the outside. So that was a neat little segment. I was kind of hoping there was going to be a little bit more to it, because this feud has been kind of recycling all its stuff for the last little while. So next we see Rey Fénix. He's trying to catch his breath. He's leaning on an equipment box. Then in comes American Made, with Chad Gable taking the lead, saying, "Hey, you're that new luchador, right? You had a great night tonight. Too bad about El Grande Americano. So then Rey Fenix looks up, starts kind of speaking to him in Spanish. Then in walks Dragon Lee, who says, you're getting beat by Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. You can doubt that. And then Chad Gable's like, oh, me? No, it's El Grande. It's El Grande. Then Rey Mysterio walks in and says, Grande is going to get a lesson in lucha. He's never going to forget. And as you see here, there's 3 of us versus 3 of you. Why don't we have a 6-man tag tonight? American Made's starting to think, no, we can't do this. And then Ray's like, I'm going to go talk to Nick Aldis. So we'll see about that in 2 seconds. Next up, we get a video recap of the Street Profits regaining their WWE Tag Team titles before this next matchup, and it's for the WWE Tag Team titles as the Motor City Machine Guns take on the Street Profits. And the Guns take advantage of the Profits early on, and honestly, these two teams have some great chemistry together. This is a great low back and forth match with big move after big move. But then comes a little bit of a headache after a big old dive over the turnbuckle by Ford. Out comes DIY, who attacks both teams. The match is thrown out. They then go take the WWE Tag Team titles and run. And that is gonna be something we reveal later. And it's a little frustrating. Then we get Nick Aldis. He's in his office. That rhymed. I didn't even mean for that to happen. He gets off the phone with somebody. Then Chelsea Green and her entourage walk in, with Green saying, I have a complaint. And I mean a real complaint. We see Piper Niven take out a binder, hand it to Nick Aldis, saying, that match from last week, that loss needs to be expunged from my record. Aldis opens the folder, looks it over, closes it, says, you're right. It's an absolute distrust of justice. You 3 were going to be in a 6-man tag later tonight, right? Well, how about tonight? Instead, tonight, Selena Vega gets her one-on-one opportunity against Green, and no Secret Hervis at ringside. Ooh! Alright, so this is kind of going to be a makeup match, which is fine. We then see Randy Orton in the back for a minute. We'll get to his promo a little later. Then we see DIY. They're trying to run out of the arena with the title belts, but they get stopped by Aldis and a few security guards. Aldis is like, you need to hand over those championships right now. DIY were like, no, there was a miscarriage of justice. We should still be the champions. The Profits and the Guns then walk in. They are all arguing. Aldis is like, enough. Boys, it's either my way or the highway. Hand them over. So DIY hands over the title belts. Then we have revealed that next week that the WWE title belts will be on the line in a TLC match next week on SmackDown, which got massive boos. So the reason this matchup announcement got such a bad reaction is because we have the 3-week built World Tag Team title match getting a WrestleMania match. But a match like this is just on SmackDown. I don't know. It feels like a big middle finger to the tag division. especially the tag division, that actually has a story, that actually has a narrative. It's been going on for months. I don't know, it just pisses me off. This match should have been on WrestleMania. So next, we get a Randy Orton in-ring promo. He says, as of now, I do not have an opponent for WrestleMania. I've been out on the town here in the streets of Vegas. The excitement for WrestleMania is like no other. You sure about that, Randy? WrestleMania means a whole lot to me, and no way I'm sitting this WrestleMania out. This WrestleMania means so much to me. I'm going to show up Sunday. I'm going to be in my gear. I'm going to be lightly lubed up. And I'm doing this for anyone. Anyone in the locker room. Anyone from out on the streets of Vegas. Anyone sitting here. You want to step up? I will be there. And no, you will fall victim to the most dangerous letters in WWE history. RKO. Randy Orton Open Challenge for WrestleMania. I dig that. I honestly wish it was Kevin Owens, but sadly he's hurt. Hopefully he gets better soon. Then we have the start of a Damian Priest interview backstage saying, Drew, I know you're trying to do your job, but you are trying to convince the world that you're the victim in this story. You're not ready for this fight. You tried to paint me as the bad guy. You're going to be wish you're going to be featured endeavored again. Ho ho. Them fighting words from Priest. That match is going to be fun. We have our latest Aleister Black tease, which we'll see how they handle him. Then we have this interesting little one-on-one match. Non-title. We have Zelina Vega taking on Chelsea Green. And yeah, these two stepped it up a whole heck of a lot. Really good counters to moves. Chelsea Green with a couple of head smashes. That looked wild. Then Vega with a code red off the top for the victory. Which, nice fun little TV match. I was hoping that would lead to something moving forward. But again, it is what it is. Then we see Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 20... I want to say it was 22 or 23. It was 24. Shown for whatever reason. And don't get me wrong, I like that WrestleMania. Then we see Jacob Fatu's attack on LA Knight from last week during his match with Solo Sikoa. Actually, during a tag team match last week. That's right. So then we get an LA Knight promo saying, I don't know if you've seen what was just shown last week. I call last week inspiration. And you say I got a sneak. Tama Tonga is now out of the equation. Next is Solo. And I know Jacob is a monster, but you don't understand. As soon as I walked into this company, I turned it upside down. You've never seen anything like me. It's a close test. You're coming for my title. But you got shot. You're going to be champ one day. You're going to eat a BFT tomorrow. And I'm still going to be United States champion. Which leads us right into LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa. And they start by brawling right into the ramp. They're throwing each other into absolutely everything. They get in, bell rings, and then we just go into wrestling mode, which is very weird. Bunch of suplexes, seated sentons. Jacob with a Solo with a big old DDT. LA Knight attempts the elbow drop, but Jacob Fatu attacks LA Knight, so the match is thrown out. Making the save is Braun Strowman, who takes out Solo and Jacob. This brings out Nick Aldis, who pretty much says, it's clear Jacob doesn't want to wait for tomorrow, for Sunday, and you all can keep your hands to yourself. So how about we have ourselves a little tag team match playa starting right now. So this leads us into our amended match, I guess we could say, as Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu take on LA Knight and Braun Strowman. And this was a nice little Strowman showcase. He hit his Strowman Express. But then Solo and Jacob pretty much took turns beating the heck out of him. Solo locks Strowman into a sleeper. Strowman eventually powers out, taking Jacob back in, who just pulls on Braun Strowman's big old beard. Jacob with a big sidewalk slam, in which both opponents tag in, partners tag in. They dual clotheslines, LA Knight with a big DDT, power slam, elbow drop only for a 2, which is broken up by a senton from Jacob Fatu. Jacob hits a big old pounce on LA Knight. Strowman with a Strowman Express, but Jacob moves, hits right into the announce table. Jacob with a drop kick. Solo attempts the Samoan Spike, misses, eats a BFT for an LA Knight Braun Strowman win. We then get a WrestleMania countdown preview with an interview with Tiffany Stratton. I'm sorry I missed that, but it did look pretty interesting. We then go to our next matchup, and it's a 6-man tag team match. We got Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Rey Fenix taking on Brutus and Julius Creed and Chad Gable of American Made. Noah Ivy Nile ringside, which I found to be interesting. But this match was a really, really good clash of styles. The Luchadors doing their thing. American Made more classic, traditional American wrestling. All the Luchadors at one point were hitting all kinds of moves on Chad Gable. At one point, and I'm not sure where it was, but apparently Rey Mysterio got hurt, which, get better soon, Rey Mysterio, you legend. Dragon Lee hits Operation Dragon, Rey Fenix with a Meteorta. So your winners, the LWO and Rey Fenix. So, interesting little matchup, and that's actually our main event match. We'll get to the main event segment in an uno momento, por favor. But first, we get a video recap of the Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins feud, which I'll admit, been very interesting. And we get the Cody Rhodes, John Cena face-off. Cody comes out first. It looks like he was going to do his catchphrase. Then out comes John Cena. Cody was about to say something else. Cena says, "Shut your mouth, kid. It's going to be my 20th WrestleMania. And while you're getting lost in the noise, the only voice you should be listening to is mine. This is my last WrestleMania match ever. Nothing can prepare you for someone who is going to die. They don't think it's real. There's no such thing as a wrestling retirement because they are all scared. Then the second they're away from this, they come crawling back. I've got joy in my life. The only reason I'm here is to take that away from all of you forever. And when you won last, Cody, when you won last year at WrestleMania, I celebrated you. But as soon as we had some time to ourselves, I told you this will get too heavy for you. You people do not write history, winners do. And I won the chamber, though it thought it'd be impossible to beat you. Then you chose wrong with The Rock. You don't understand a chance. You don't stand a chance. Then Cody replies saying, all of this always makes up truth. You're going to ignore them and you'd be... Oh, this is still Cena, actually. Ignore them and you'd be great. In order to beat you, you chose what you'd think is right, or do you win? And Sunday, I'm going to make you somebody. I'm going to become the winner. I'm going to cut ties with the losers and realize you're not the leader. You're a child in a man's world. So now this is Cody, who says, you always have something to say, right? This crowd, this is who you... this is Cena again. This crowd, this is who you fight for? You said you don't want to bury... this is Cody now. You said you don't bury talent. You are the talent. Let me ask you. You know his name, pointing to the cameraman. This is a different WWE since you've been here. And since the GOAT hasn't shown up, you're overrated and out of time. It's 2025 and you still can't wrestle. So Cena, kind of taken aback, assesses himself. Cody definitely says some other things, but I really couldn't get it because he was talking a little fast for me. So Cena says, idiots, they're just like you. And to beat you, I don't have to out-wrestle you. He attempts the AA, that gets blocked into a crossroads in the middle of the ring. And then Cody walks up the ramp, his music playing, holding up the WWE title to end the segment. And then we end with a final WrestleMania card rundown. I'm going to say this was a fun go-home episode of SmackDown. While not a lot really did happen, it is unfortunate Rey Mysterio got hurt because it was revealed on the countdown to WrestleMania. It was revealed that Rey Mysterio would get replaced by Rey Fenix due to the injury he sustained. So it's going to be Rey Fenix versus El Grande Americano. We'll get to that tomorrow. But yeah, that was a pretty entertaining week of wrestling. WrestleMania week usually is. There were some other shows going around during the week as well. I'm sorry I didn't cover those. I didn't end up watching them. I do apologize. I'm sure there were fun shows all around. So that's it for me for today. Tomorrow, going to be reviewing WrestleMania, both nights. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a pro wrestling break. Next Wednesday, think I'll do something MCU related. And then on Friday, we're going to be back with... On the following Friday, we're going to be back to the wrestling. So, hope you all enjoyed. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.